everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are on episode 80. Finally. Of playing through our collection. This is the first of the S's. Unfortunately, it is going to be the first of many of the S's. We have a lot to get through.
95.
95 S's or 95 videos of S's?
It'll feel like 95 videos.
It won't be quite that many. We have about 170 S's to get through. Anyway, before we get started, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon if you want notification of future content.
Or you can follow us on social media. Click the link below and we'll show all the links to you.
There you go. All right.
I think we got 11 games.
I did not count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games.
13 games. Okay.
I can't count, so.
I did not.
Okay, we'll get the grouping out of the way first.
Well, how about we do this first? Since it is a new letter.
Oh, well, that's true.
Very quick, if you are just new to joining us on this adventure we are on, we started this back in 2022 because we wanted to play through what had turned into a very extensively large collection, most of which we had never played.
Mm-hmm.
The reason it got that big, we developed our second collection. We currently have two collections. Ours, that sits in the game room, and then a travel collection that sits in an alternate room in the house. That portion of the collection was started many years ago when we worked with the choir department at our local high school. Both of our boys were in show choir, and through that involvement, we got involved with show choir competitions. Mm-hmm. If you are not familiar with a show choir or a band competition, and I imagine band is very similar in the way they do it, although I don't know if they have, I don't know if it's as long. Show choir competitions can last anywhere from 12 hours if you have a bad day to 18 hours if you have a good day. And you want the kids to have good days. However, that means being active and at somebody else's high school anywhere from 6 a.m. to midnight. So we came up with this idea many years ago. It started out as a fundraiser for the local group we were with the high school. And it turned into going to competitions and taking it to special events so the kids had something to do. But it started out as just a family game night fundraiser. And it was very successful for several months. Unfortunately, we kept butting up against football. Go figure. But unfortunately, with the COVID, our involvement with the high school ended. Our boys had both graduated long before COVID, like 10 years before COVID. No.
6 years.
6 years before COVID. 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
But that love of the competitions, that love of doing this for the teenagers, for the kids, has remained. Mm-hmm. So we want to get back into doing this. We've done it a few times since COVID ended, since everything kind of got back to normal. However, we need to explore some more, but we want to get through some of this and narrow that collection down. That collection alone had gotten up to over 1,100 games. Mm-hmm. That is far too many games for us to take anywhere. So we're starting to narrow down and get rid of the ones that just don't fit what we want for that collection. And hence why we started doing this in 2022. We are now entering year 4 of doing this project.
And my initial thought was 5 years. And then
you
I
keep
upped it
saying
to
10.
Then I upped it to 10
Okay.
and then 15. And
it will probably end up being about 5 years.
By 2030, we'll be done.
We could have gotten this done in 4.5 years, but unfortunately things keep
Life
stalling
happens.
out. Life happens, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's taken us a month to get the first S video done, for goodness sakes.
Well, it wasn't like we didn't do 10 other videos for certain things.
Well, this is true. Now that we're past all of our top 10 videos, which if you have not checked out, please do. We can start focusing on this again and start knocking out some of these S videos. Hopefully be done by the end of the year. We'd better be done with the S's by the end of the year. We average about 350 games a year toward this project. There's only 179 in the S's. So we should easily be halfway through the T's, if not all the way through the T's. Of course, it is also already April.
I was just say, we're almost halfway through this year already.
A third of the way. Anyway. So anyway, that's why we do what we do. That's how this all started. I talk about this quite extensively in, earlier videos for one, which I encourage you to go back and look at if you have not already. but also in the game room tour video I did sometime last year, which, mind you, the game rooms have already changed immensely since then. So maybe when we're all completely done with this and we've weeded it all out, I will do another one.
A comparison.
We'll see. Anyway, let's get started.
Okay, like I said, we're going to put a grouping of them together.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have Saboteur Duel. We have Saboteur
The original.
with its expansion, Saboteur 2, which it's an expansion.
Yeah.
And then we have Saboteur Lost Mines.
Which is the newest of all of them.
Which they all play similar.
They all play very similar.
But this one actually has a board.
Yeah. So the idea, let's just start with the basic rules of Saboteur. The basic rules are you are trying to build out various paths to get from point A, which is not in this stack of cards, to get from point A. Okay, well, anyway, there's usually a starting card, a ladder that is going down into the mines. And you'll probably find it. But and then several treasure cards set so many spaces back on the table. And the idea is that each player is playing one card and drawing one card from the deck. Simple as that. If you cannot play one of your cards, you discard a card. You can play cards on other players. There are bad cards. There is a broken lantern. There is a broken pickaxe. There is, that's gold. Okay, there you go. There's a broken wagon. All sorts of different things that you can play on other players. And then likewise, there are the good cards. There is the fixed lantern. There is the mended pickaxe. There is the fixed wagon that you can play on yourself so that you can continue on. But the main purpose of this game is to play out all of these tunnel cards one by one to get you from point A, the entry point, to point B, one of the mines. There are several different mines in this. Some of them show gold, some of them do not. If they show gold, you take so many gold cards and these are points at the end of the game. Person with the most gold wins the game. There are a couple of dummy cards in there that the mines may not be a mine. You might find just rocks. So you got to find the actual mines. The main difference with this game, other than just a typical route builder, at the start of the game, you pass out your dwarf cards. Now, there are regular dwarf cards, and then there are Saboteur dwarf cards.
Dwarf cards?
Dwarf cards. These are passed out secretly. You have, depending on the number of players, depends on how many Saboteurs you have. The idea with the Saboteur is that they are trying to mislead everybody. You're trying to make the deck run out before you find the gold. If people realize you're the Saboteur, that's when they start throwing those broken lanterns and the broken pickaxes at you because that slows you down. Or the Saboteur could do that to everybody else. So you've got to be careful who you're throwing them on because they might suspect you of being the Saboteur even if you're not. That being said, you may need to slow somebody down so you can get there first to get the gold. So it's an interesting social deduction route building game.
Yep.
That is the basics of this game. And all three of them play very similar. Duel is geared toward 2 players. Simple as that. 2 adds a couple extra things to it. Nothing major. The Mines adds
a board.
A board, yes. So it adds a board. It changes the size of the cards that you're laying down. This gives you the spots where you're starting out. It gives you, and you still lay down all your cards. You're still building your routes just like normal. But the biggest difference with this one is that now you have 2 teams. And the teams are working together. However, instead of just a Saboteur, you now have somebody on your team that is secretly working for the other team. It's called, what do they call that? It's
What's
not
that?
The person who's working for the other team. It's this person.
It's the
It's
selfish.
a Saboteur. It's a
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
You also have the selfish dwarf. The selfish dwarf is only working for himself. He's technically part of a team, but whenever he gets gold, he keeps it. He doesn't give it to the team. And then you have your Saboteur that is supposed to be on your team, but is secretly working for the other team. And nobody knows who that is on their team. It's just, it adds a few more roles to it, a little more of that social deduction to it, but otherwise plays exactly the same as regular Saboteur, just on a board. that is the basics. Ooh, almost dropped that off. Obviously, we're not going to keep all of these. That's a bit much. Now, this one we bought because of the number of players. It plays 3 to 9 players, and Saboteur does too. We're going to end up keeping this one mostly because of the contained board, the enhanced social deduction aspect of it. It's more than just a Saboteur now. You're actually working for another team. We're going to go ahead and get rid of all 3 of these, though. There's no sense in keeping all of this.
No.
So these 3 will leave. This guy will stay. Yeah. But, I mean, I forgot how enjoyable the game is. We had not played it in years.
Yeah, we used to play it a lot.
We did.
When we first got it.
This was very early in our collection. And we did. We played it a lot. But, yeah, I had forgotten how enjoyable it was, that whole search and find aspect of it. But yeah, so these 3 are going to leave. This guy's staying. That's that.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Sakura by Reiner Knizia.
Okay. This one is a very okay kind of game.
Kind of a dry game.
It is. It is very dry. However,
you can't get the box lid upside down.
you cannot.
You can put the directions in upside down, though.
Well, yeah. Here's your board. So the idea with this game is that everybody is starting over here off the path. Over here off the path. And you're going this way.
You're starting at the gates.
You're starting at the gate, thank you. So everybody has their little artist starting here at the gate. And then there is the emperor. And the emperor is always ahead of everybody. All of the little artists are following the emperor through the garden. Everybody starts with 5 points of their tokens, and then throughout the game you're gaining more points as you earn them. So during the game you always have a hand of 5 cards. The cards do different things based on the symbols on them. So simultaneously everybody is choosing 1 card in their hand and playing it out. Give me 1 more of these guys. I'll put that in there. So you're choosing 1 card out of your hand and playing it face down. And then all together, simultaneously, everybody reveals their cards, and all of the cards are resolved in numeric order based on the bottom. And now you resolve these icons up top. The icons could make you move forward or backward 1. Simple as that. What does that one do? That one is...
Count the number of painters between you.
Okay, and then move 1 space forward for each one of them. So this one moves the emperor. This top one moves the emperor forward or backward 1 space. So I could choose to go forward or backward 1 space, whichever I choose. Well, based on this bottom one, I'm definitely going to make him go forward, because this bottom icon says that I have to count the number of people between me and the emperor and move that many spaces, not counting the spaces they're in. You never count spaces somebody else is on. So I would have to move 2 spaces. That's perfect. So maybe this one is played next. It's a 26, so that would be logical. This one, instead of moving the emperor, because the emperor is this yellow square, this one and the green one, like this, move another player. You get to, and you don't have to pick which player it is. It tells you. In this case, you always move the one, the red is the painter that's furthest from the emperor 2 spaces forward. The green is the one that's closest to the emperor and move him 2 spaces backwards. So in this case, they would pick me and move me 2 spaces backward, right to where I started. But maybe Greg played this one on the black player. Not intentionally, just so happens the black player is the furthest behind. So you have to move him 2 spaces forward. 1, 2. And he bumps into the emperor and immediately has to go 3 steps backwards and lose points. And then he moves himself 3 spaces. Oops, 1, 2, 3. And then he has to go backwards. This is a programming game where you are programming 1 card at a time and hoping that you don't bump into the emperor in the process. But you're moving yourself, you're moving the emperor, you're moving other players, and following exactly what the cards tell you to do. Every time the emperor, no matter how many spaces the emperor has left to move, if the emperor hits one of the bushes, he stops and that ends the round. Period. and you get points based on where you finish that card. You do finish the card play, but you do not play anybody else's card. You stop, you end the round. Everybody gets points based on how close they are to the Emperor, and then the round progresses. Then you basically start a new round, and you continue doing this all the way till the end. When we played this 2-player, it was okay.
Yeah.
We played this 4-player at Cabin Con a couple weeks ago, and I don't think I have laughed that hard at a game in years. We had such a great time at this mediocre game. I think we're going to play this one on the 24, just because we can get it 5 or 6 player and watch the hilarity ensue. Yeah, it's been in our collection all this time. I think we're going to move this over to the other collection, mostly because I think it's better at higher player counts. It is not good at 2 players. And if we want to play it with a higher player count, we know where it's at. But we're going to go ahead and move it off of our shelves. But yeah, that is Sakura by Ryder Knizia. Very interesting programming game. Yeah. All right.
Next we got Santorini, a game you don't like.
I don't care for this one. Don't get me wrong, this last play was a little longer and more strategic than most of our plays.
It was a lot closer for you to try and win it this time.
This one, I have never had good luck with this one. To me, this always feels like whoever goes first is going to win. Simple as that. This one, I think I'd always forgotten you could move diagonally, and we watched a play of this recently, and that reminded me you could move diagonally, which I had to remind you of, or I would have won the game. So, the idea with this one, without...
Are you really going to set up this board?
No, I'm just going to set this.
Please don't.
I'm not going to set up the whole thing. I'm just pulling out this part.
Because you're already upside down.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the idea. And I've got lots of pictures of this. But you are moving your little guys on the board one space at a time. That's all you can move, unless there's certain powers out. But we'll go into that later. Actually, let me get somebody who's not practically see-through. As you're going, you have to move a space, and it could be in any of the 8 spaces around you.
That's not occupied.
That's not occupied. Or you can build. Oh, no, I'm sorry. And then you have to build. You build in one of the 8 spaces after you've moved that is around you. Movement can be up 1 level, or it can be down any number of levels. The ultimate goal of the game, and it's trickier than it sounds, because like I said, I don't think I've ever won this. The ultimate goal of the game is to be able to get up onto the top level, like so, before somebody moves next to that building and builds a cap on it, preventing you from doing so. We picked this game up long before we went to Europe. Long before we went to Greece. We played it
because we played it in
Santorini.
Yes.
Which was interesting, but let me tell you how much fun it was to get through customs with these in your bag. We got inspected at every spot. It was interesting. But, okay, it's an interesting game. I will give it that. I see the strategy behind it. I'm just not very good at it. There is also a ton of God cards. And every round every turn, I should not say every round, every game you choose different powers. It's usually like a draft or something, or you can do it randomly, whatever. Yep. But there are a number of God powers in here that you can use to enhance the gameplay. Yeah.
And it has the Golden Fleece expansion.
It does have the Golden Fleece expansion. What are you looking for? This. So yeah, it's okay. It's in the other collection now. We're definitely going to keep it there. We know where it is if he wants to play it.
I'll say I like the game.
You do.
Next is Sapiens.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were going to say something. All right.
We didn't show the box. Sapiens.
Sapiens here. You hold that box over there. Okay. Sapiens is an interesting tile laying game. This is there's a matching aspect to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
kind of like dominoes. It's kind of have a
Kinda,
domino
yeah, it really does.
type of
There you
game.
go. So everybody gets these two pieces of their board, and each of the boards is a little different in the bonuses you get. Depending on
And they
what
can
you do.
change up because you can swap them out.
Yeah, you can absolutely. Yeah, they're just puzzle pieces. Oh, and they're even double-sided. I did not even notice that before. There's all sorts of swapping.
You're so observant.
How did I not notice that the other day? Anyway, all right. So you put your board together, however you decide to do it, and everybody has a board similar to this. Everybody has their tokens that are randomly put into all of these squares and then flipped over.
The
These
caves?
give you the caves. Well, they're not all caves. These are waterfalls into the squares, 6 of which are caves, 2 of which are waterfalls. Anyway, these go randomly into these spots, and these give you extra bonuses throughout the game once you are able to build that area. Everybody has 2 scoring tokens. You have your shelter token, and then you have your food token, and these are each progressed up the track a little bit differently. So, on your turn, everybody has 4 tokens in front of them at all times. You are playing a token from in front of you onto your board, starting in one of your 6 caves and branching from there. You're essentially building out your tribe. There are another 5 of these laying out in a central display that you get to choose from once you're done. So these are all laying out over here. There you go. On my turn, I'm looking at my 4 tiles. I have this token up here in this cave, and I am placing this token down. So now I have to match this token with this cave. I get this bonus token. This token stays in place. Done. And I get 6 shelter points because the token was still there. Now I go and I choose another token. Well, I just laid down one of these fists. So I may want to grab this fist token if I don't already have one in my hand, which I do, so I do not necessarily have to do that. So I can see that my fist token has the pumpkins on the other side of it, or no, that's huts. They have huts on the other side of it. So maybe I want to grab this hut token instead so that I can progress off of it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace it with this. In a 2-player game, I now have to discard one of these without knowing. Actually, I can see what my opponent has. All your tiles are laying in front of you. So on my next turn, now I have to lay this fist token off of this. The key is that I cannot lace, unless I can't put something down that does not 100% match up to what's next to it. It has to be true matches. So for instance, if I did this area here is dead because I would have to match a fist and a hut, and there's no tile that does that in one space. This space is now dead. So maybe I'm going to lay this right here because now I get 3 food points by laying this right here. And my next tile may go right here because now I'm going to get 2 more food points. Or I may go over here because I'm going to get 2 food points. But if I do that, I block this cave. I can never get into that cave. Maybe I'll do it this way. So that way I can find another hut with whatever's in this cave. So it's a very interesting game of dominoes, trying to get into your caves to get the better shelter points, to get the best points you can out here on the board for food points. As you're doing this, there's all these different bonuses down here as you're matching up different things. Like for instance, when I matched up those 2 hut tiles, I got 3 shelter points out of it. There's ways to put out bear tokens on your opponent's. That is this one. To put out bear tokens on your opponent's board to block that space. There are ways to get, when you match up the mammoth token, then you get stakes. Stakes are points at the end of the game if you get enough of them. Well, it's kind of a push your luck. Instead of taking a stake, you can trade in all your stakes for points.
Yes.
But you don't wait too long because I think we each ended up with just 1 stake and never got
neither
any
one
more.
of us. Yeah.
So we never made use of that. I think it's an interesting little tile placement game. It's a lot of thought put into this. I know you didn't really care for it.
No. The artwork's really cool.
The artwork is really cute.
I don't think I've ever really looked at these tiles because,
Yeah.
like the one with the fists, they're giants beating up
Oh, wow.
beating up the cavemen. Then the forest, it's like the cavemen are out picking apples out of a tree. The rock one looks like he's kind of like a shaman or something on top of the rock, praising the gods.
I didn't really look at it that closely.
The mammoth has a bunch of spearmen around it trying to take it down.
Take the mammoth down, yeah.
This is the one that I thought was the interesting one, though. But I'm guessing they're holding torches. The flame one.
Yeah.
I guess they're holding torches, but they look like they're all on fire.
They do. But yeah, I'm hoping that is just them holding torches, because otherwise that's kind of gruesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed the game. It does sit in the travel collection. We moved it over there quite some time ago because you never cared for it.
No.
But it's going to stay there. We'll see what happens from there. But yeah, that is Sapiens. Guide your tribe through the valley. There you go. Interesting game. I like the domino aspect of it. The matching is very thinky. It's a lot thinkier than it looks like it will be. But anyway, yeah, that is that. Okay.
Next we have Sand.
This is one of the later DeVere games. It's a pick up and deliver. Very, I don't know. I feel like this one's going to require, oh boy, I'm going to show pictures. I feel like this one's going to require, because I mean, this is the box, guys, and the boards are on bottom.
It's a puzzle just to make sure you get everything in there.
It is. Okay, so the one thing I'm going to pull out is just, oh no, that's the actual game. That's the board. I'll pull out this. I'm not going to pull out the full board. I'm going to pull out one of these. Here we go. This is a worker movement action selection based on the values on 4 shared dice, essentially. So on your turn, you are moving, and I'll show a picture of the board. You are moving from city to city or from village to village on this desert board.
Using your worm.
Using your worm. And there's tiles that overlay all these spots that you activate at some point during the game. Everybody has 4 actions that they can do based on the 4 colors of the dice. Red, white, blue, and
black.
Black. Thank you. You start off with 3 actions because one is blocked until you get to a certain point. There's a point where you can you flip your worm over. The first time you flip your worm over to upgrade him, that's when you get your 4th action. The main purpose of this game is you are picking cubes up from various villages and taking them to other villages to drop them back off. As you're picking up cubes, though, you're picking up crafts or resources, essentially. You're putting them here, which is essentially blocking an action space. Because now, if I pick up a blue cube, I can no longer do the blue action.
Yep. And then you flip your tile over so it looks like, so it shows that you have a package.
But until I drop that blue cube off somewhere, the blue action is blocked for me. Same with the red, same with the white, same with the black. I can't use those action spaces, those action tokens. As you deliver the cubes, they are now going here onto your board, and they're giving you various bonuses as you go, whether it be 3 victory points, upgrade your worm, put out your shelter. What is that one? That's one of these. You get to flip over one of your shamans. So lots of different things going on. You're tracking your health over here, your health, your food, your water, and then your prayer and
prestige.
Prestige, thank you. So lots going on this. I know we played it at Cabin Con.
Yep.
We've actually played it a couple times in the last few weeks. Once for this video, and then we wanted to try it at Cabin Con as well.
Because we wanted to try it at 4 players.
Yes.
But we tried it at...
We played 3 because Daniel hadn't gotten there yet. It was a lot. I don't want to say it was tighter. I felt like it was still very open. I never was blocked from going or doing what I wanted to do. But I felt like I started to see the issues with trying to keep up with my supplies. I felt like every turn I was having to do something to deal with supplies.
Yeah, you and Jeff were moving around a lot on the board. I got to one area and I stayed there.
Yeah. Well, you got lucky that the cubes you needed just kept coming out right there.
Yeah, and that the village that needed those cubes was right there. So I was kind of like just back and forth between 3 different little towns and just working it.
We were not that lucky. You creamed us.
Because it collects like, the more cubes you can get turned in and get it on your board, the more things you're going to get, the more points you're going to get.
Yep.
And I was getting the higher priced cubes.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying, because if you do them in any city, the higher priced ones, they're going to get a low dollar for it.
Yeah.
If you take it to the dock, you get the highest, but the other ones, you get the lower for it. So I was like, I'll just turn them in down here so I can go up that track
There's
more.
a point where you have to decide, is it worth the extra money, which is victory points, versus the time it would take me to get there.
Correct.
And you
And
made that
I made that little circle right there that
Yeah.
I was working the entire time, and
Yeah.
that got me.
You made that trade and it paid off, where you decided to save the time and go for the lower dollars. But by
get up my
doing
tracks
so,
faster.
it gave you more options. So in the long run, it was better for you.
And it
So-
didn't kill me to take a
which is
turn
interesting.
and just up all of my
Yeah.
resources back up. It didn't kill me to do that.
Yeah, interesting.
So.
I feel like we need more exploring on this one. I definitely do. It's a good game. We're going to hold on to it. I want to explore it some more.
Yep.
So, but anyway, that is Sand by Ernest Sella and
Those are the artists.
Yeah.
This is the
I'm
designers.
sorry. By now, I've already put it on the screen.
Read it for yourself. Ariel De Constanzo and Javier Pellizzari.
There you go. Sand by DeVere. It's going to stay. Thank you.
Next we
Okay.
got Sagrada.
That is not Sagrada. Sagrada's next.
Sagani. Sagrada. Sagani. Next we have Sagani.
Sagani is an Uwe Rosenberg game, very similar to Nova Luna. It plays the same similar rules to Nova Luna. A couple little differences though. Scoreboard, done. Okay. So on your turn, everybody is starting out with one central tile. Everybody gets a series of cubes, or not cubes,
Discs.
All right. On your turn, you are drafting these tiles from the central board. And each of these tiles want different things. They're each worth a various number of victory points. But when you lay them down into your tableau, you have to put some of your colored discs on each of these arrows that are on here. And what this means is that, or no, you don't. You stack them up in the center. You stack all four up in the center of the tile, blocking the victory points. And then as you are able to lay down a green somewhere in the diagonal row from this tile, you get to take one of these up and cover that because it's now completed. Or as you lay an orange somewhere above this tile, it doesn't have to be right above it, somewhere above it, then you get to take one of those tokens and move it to cover this up. But now, so maybe I did, that tile does not work. Yeah, well, maybe I did this, or there's got to be a better orange tile here. No. I need an orange tile with a down-facing arrow. It's not working.
Good luck with that.
I don't think any of them do. My gosh, they're all up-facing.
There you go, right there.
Oh, there we go. So maybe I place this green one right here. I could immediately fill in both of these arrows because I have a green to the northeast and I have a green to the southwest. Done. They're both filled in. Once you get all of the flames covered, once you've uncovered all this and covered all of these because you've met all those requirements, you flip the tile over, you take all of those tokens back and you put them back in your central supply. You now have them to use on other tiles. The trick is you have to draw a tile at the start of your turn and you have to place it somewhere in your tableau. Hopefully you're freeing up some of your discs, because if you're not and you don't have enough discs to put onto the tile you just drew,
You gotta take red discs.
you got to take the red
The
discs.
bad discs.
These are -1 point at the end of the game. On the plus side, you never get rid of them, so you can use them later on in the game in case you run out of your own colored discs again. They're still just that -1, but you can't get rid of them. So it's a kind of a, yeah, I can't get rid of it. It's always mine. Yeah, I can't get rid of it. It's a -1 at the end of the game. I think this one is very interesting. It has that same mechanism as Nova Luna, as Habitats, as several other games have done this. I think it actually did it before Habitats, but the difference with this one is they don't have to touch. There we go. They don't have to touch. This orange can be anywhere above it. It can be 6 spaces ahead of it. They just have to be in that direction. And then I fulfill this tile. So, and I like that. I like the fact that you could end up filling 2 or 3 tiles with one tile placement because I now have an orange and I have 3 tiles that want an orange in that direction. So it's interesting the way it's a. Are you having fun?
I'm just stacking things.
It's an interesting puzzle to try to not run out of discs to get those higher point tiles. Yeah, I love this one. I really, really enjoy this one. But anyway, that is Sagani, and now I'm going to mess up all of his neat handiwork. Look. Anyway, it's going to stay.
Next, I'm going to prove it wrong. It's Santa Marina, not Sagrada, and the box lid's upside down again.
Happy? Okay. Santa Maria is one we picked up at Gen Con several years ago. It was a dealer, or it was a vendor in the late night play hall. They were not in the dealer hall. And they were still open at 10 o'clock at night, and we were bored, and we bought a game, so it paid off for them, I guess. All right, so everybody there's two sides to this board. You've got your symmetric and your asymmetric sides. Well, not really symmetric. You have your
pre-city
pre-printed
or capital or whatever it is, pre-printed
capital versus you can put your capital anywhere. The idea with this game, this is a dice drafting.
Dice placement.
Dice placement game, basically.
Well, not really dice placement, because the pips on the dice are going to tell you where you're going to put it at.
All right, so at the start of the game, you are pulling dice equal to, based on the number of players. So I think
everybody starts with one blue die.
Everybody starts with one. You set two more aside because you can game them throughout the game. And then you start with 3 dice per player for the white side. You roll all of them together, and they all sit off of a central board right here. They all sit down here. Throughout the game, everybody is able to draft exactly 3 white dice. That's it. Doesn't matter if you want 4 or 5. Doesn't matter if one player has not picked up any of his dice yet. You can't have them. Everybody gets 3 dice from down here for their actions. So throughout the game, and then everybody has one blue die they roll at the start of the game, and they alone get to use that blue dice. At the start of each round, start of each round. Throughout the game, you can gain 2 more by going up, the religion track?
Yes.
Yeah, you go up the religion track, and you can slowly gain your other dice. One of the actions you can do is to purchase new tiles to put down onto your board to cover all these green squares. Each tile you put down and each of these pre-printed actions are action spaces that you enable by taking dice. So if I take a white die, and it was rolled as we'll say it was rolled as a 4. I drafted off of this board to play on this board. I start here and I slowly go down the track. So I stop, hit this space. I'm doing the shipping action. So I do the shipping action, which involves taking a ship off of this board over here on the edge.
As long as you have the resources.
As long as you have the resources to pay for that ship. And then I go down here, I get a wood, and I get a conquistador action.
Which moves you moves you on another track.
Yeah, moves me on that track. Throughout the game, I might have built up other things here that I would do as well, based on or from tiles that I've picked up.
Yeah, so this part's like an engine.
Yeah, this is a little engine you're building. It's a polyomino little engine. And it's only two types of tiles. You get your 2 square tiles, and you have your 3 square tiles that are the L shape. The trick here is that as you're going, get back to my 4, you have to stop at the last one. It permanently blocks that last square. Now, if I had rolled a 5 on my blue die, I can't do anything. There's nothing there because I've already blocked this 4. I've already blocked that one with my 4. Throughout the game, you're also getting coins. You can buy actions with coins. So maybe the first action you buy on your board is 1 coin. So maybe I need an extra piece of wood in order to get more tiles. I can buy a piece of wood for 1 coin, but it permanently blocks that action. So
for that round.
For that round. Yes, everything's round based. I'm sorry. So if I were to activate a die of 1, I now had this action is no longer available to me. So as you're doing some actions, you're permanently blocking them for the rest of the round. it's an interesting little puzzle to get numbers built up so that you can advantageously use them. You don't want all your really good actions to be at the end of the row, because once you've used a die, that permanently blocks those actions for that round. I've always liked this one. I know you're not a huge fan of it. I have always liked this one. I've liked the puzzle of building out this.
Yeah, engine. I don't remember if I won this game last time or not.
I think this past time you did win.
Did I?
Yes, you did win this one. Because I thought, you know what? I'm going to build out and start here and just build up. I just did exactly what I said don't do. Put all your good stuff on the very edge of your board. And that is exactly what I did. And it screwed me up. So I've always really liked this one. Like I said, I know you don't care for it.
No.
But I think it's an interesting engine builder. Let me get this back in there.
Yeah, which is crazy because I like engine building games. And yeah, this one just has never really, I mean, first couple games were kind of cool because we were still exploring it. But after that, it's kind of been...
Yeah. This does sit in our collection. It's going to stay there for now. Eventually, it might move to the other collection. We'll see how many plays it gets. But yeah, that is Santa Maria. Interesting little engine builder using dice as your actions. So.
Next, now we have Sagrada.
We've had this one for a while.
Yes,
Matter of fact, when we first got it, we had to hunt it down because it was so hard to find. Because it was so popular when it first came out.
I thought we got it at Gen Con.
Nope, we bought this at Saltiers. When Saltiers was still in their original building. Anyway, we did test this at Gen Con.
Yes.
When it was nothing more than...
little bitty cards and just odd dice.
Yeah, it was, if I can get down to it, it was just these cards. That was it. That was the cards.
There was no windows.
Yeah, now you have these beautiful windows that these cards slide up into. If I can get them up there. There we go. And this is now your player board. So the idea with this game, at the start of the game, everybody starts with 2 of these cards, and you can decide which of the 4 options you're going to play. The complexity is denoted by the little bubbles down at the bottom. So you choose the one you're going to play, and this now tells you how you need to build out your window. At the start of every round, whoever the start player is pulls out dice equal to 2 per player plus 1 from the bag. And in lower player counts, you're pulling some of the dice out of the bag. So you will always end up with nothing left in the bag. So on your turn, you are drafting, and then remind you the start player rolled all the dice. And this is what you have to work with for that round. It's a snake draft from there. The start player chooses a die, next player does, blah, blah. And then you come backwards. So the start player gets the first pick and the last pick. Whatever the last die left standing goes on to a central board that depicts the number of rounds. That keeps track of your rounds for you, so you know how many rounds you have left. After you've chosen your first die, you have to place the die as soon as you get it. You cannot hold on till your second draft. So you have to put it out on your board. The key with this is you cannot put the same color next to each other orthogonally. You cannot put the same number next to each other orthogonally. Now, if I have a 2 here, I could put a 2 here. That's no problem. I cannot put a 2 here. So you are placing out these dice, and the dice are beautiful translucent dice. You're placing these dice out on your board somewhere so they will match. So like I could put a green 6 here. That calls for a 6. I could not put a green 5 there because it calls for a 6. That's the trick with this. You have to match up what your window wants. So if I put a 6 here, I can make it a green 6. I could put another green here, a green 2. I can't put a 6 here though, and I cannot have this red be a 6. If that makes any sense. You have to start on the edge of your board, and you have to build out from there. You can build diagonally, so you don't have to build orthogonally. You can build diagonally, but you have to build next to it. I can't just suddenly play a green 6 here and then jump over here and play a green 5. Can't do that. If all that were not tricky enough, there are cards out in the middle of the table that depict certain extra scoring for the end of the game. Like this one wants you to have a variety of numbers on your board. For every set you have of 1 through 6, you get 5 points. This one wants you to have a variety of colors in every row of your board. If you have any matching colors, that doesn't work. So it adds a little more complexity, but that's 6 points per row that you succeed in. So it's worth trying. Everybody has personal goals as well. There are some rule-breaking cards out, essentially. The complexity of your board, if your board had 5 dots on it, gives you 5 tokens that you can spend on cards that essentially bend the rules a little bit. It lets you move dice once they're placed. It
Re-roll
might let
dice.
you re-roll a die. It might,
Swap dice with dice up on the scored
there's
card.
all sorts of different cards there that add to, again, help you break a rule or add a little bit more to the complexity. Yeah, I love this game. Absolutely love this one. Always
This has a lot of expansions now.
It does. And I'll be honest, we haven't played very many of them, or
No.
we've only played them once. The 5-6 player expansion is interesting to speed the game up, because it can be a lengthy game when you get 6 players involved. So to speed the game up, they added these individual wheels. I know exactly where they are because I already saw them. They add these individual wheels to it, where at the start of the game, everybody gets, I think it's 2 dice of each color. You roll them out and you throw them onto this wheel. And then on your turn, you're drafting 1 die and you're taking 1 die off of here. It's your choice which one you're doing. You can take the one off of here first, or you can draft first. But that helps speed it up because you already know what's here and you've known since the start of the game. So you can kind of pre-plan where you want certain things. But that was added to the 5-6 player expansion. I do love that because I played it, I want to say I played it 5 player at the last ladies' night. Without that, they didn't want to add that in. And it made it a lengthy game. It was still an enjoyable game, don't get me wrong, but it did make it a lengthy game. But yeah, that is Sagrada. A game of dice drafting and window crafting. Interesting game. I love this one. But yeah, it's going to stick around. We actually have this in both collections. We do have 2 copies of it.
Yeah, this is a game when we got it, we played the heck out of it.
We did play the heck out of this. And that's why we've bought all the expansions. And
and then I got tired of it.
You did. I did not. I love it. It's sticking around. All right. Drake's about dumped it off the table.
Now we have a game called Sabotage, the game where uncertainty reigns.
Yes. This was interesting. The mechanics in this one was interesting. I did win this one. I remember that. You could not quite wrap your head around this one.
This one,
broke your
I
brain.
did not like at all.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so with this one, everybody has a set of tiles out, and there are squares outlined on the board that tell you exactly where everybody starts. And then there is, if I can get it out of there, the crown that sits in the middle of the board. And everybody starts in all these different little places. And, okay, so
then you got places over there.
and then I have a couple places over here as well. And then the blue player has some up here and down here. The idea with this game is you need to get to the center, get the crown, and get back to your home base without getting captured. So how this plays, though, the trick with this one is that your movement, and you can move diagonally until you have the crown. Once you have the crown, you cannot move diagonally. But the trick with this one is your movement is dependent on how many other pieces, yours or your opponent's, are in the
row.
So this piece, for instance, since there's nobody else in his row, can only move 1 space. This piece, though, because there's another piece in his row, can now move 2 spaces. If, I would pull out blue, but that's a whole other bag to open. So maybe the blue had a piece here. This piece could now move 3 spaces. Now, it has to be in a straight line. It can be diagonal, so obviously going 1, 2, 3 is not going to work. But maybe he'd gotten over to here somehow. Now he could go 1, 2, 3 and pick up the crown. Getting back, of course, he has to go in a straight line, though. So, or he can only go orthogonally. I thought it was an interesting little puzzle, little chess game type of thing, getting that crown. But moving pieces around always changed what your pieces could do. So if I could get him up to here, well, now he can move 2 spaces. Or maybe I get him to here, and I'm like this, and guess what? Now he's home free, unless somebody can capture him first. But as you capture pieces, So maybe I had these and Greg had gotten up to here and he could move diagonally and capture my piece. So you are losing pieces throughout the game. I thought it was an interesting little chess game, essentially. You didn't care for it.
Yeah, I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
There was really not a lot of defensive moves that you could do in the game. I mean, because I thought about, oh, I'm doing this, I'm building a wall, that she's not going to get up there, because then I can get up there and I'll be able to do one. If she moves in there, I'll be able to get it. But then I had everybody in one row and then realized, oh, now those guys can only move 5.
Yeah.
And I was done. I couldn't do anything from that point on. And yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of it.
That was the key to this one, was that movement. That's what made this different, was that movement of you have to move what's in the row. You can't move less. You can't move more. You have to move.
You have to move exactly that much. Yeah.
And that's what made it strategic. So, but
anyway, not a big fan.
We're not going to hold on to this one. It was kind of odd. It's only a 2-player game, and we're trying to build that collection with larger player count games. So, but anyway, that is Sabotage, the game where uncertainty reigns.
Next we have Sanssouci.
We played this one at CavinCon too.
Yes, we did.
We took a lot of these to CavinCon to play. All right. So Sanssouci this is an older game, but if I'm not mistaken, it just had a refresh with a Kickstarter.
Yeah, a year or so ago.
Yeah. So everybody starts off with their board, like so, and the boards are all just slightly different. They're even double-sided, and each side is a little different. Then there is this central board. So on these spaces, there are all these tiles laid out of different features as depicted on these boards. So there are 8 different ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. 9 different ones. 9 different types of features. And then again, the 6 colors. Now, the features themselves don't depict the colors. That's depicted by the square you pick them up off of. And that's the trick. So if I pick this staircase up off of this purple color, this purple space here, I have to lay it on the staircase space, in the staircase column, in the purple space. Simple as that. If I were to pick up this crop of trees, I'm not exactly sure what those are supposed to be, and I picked it up out of the orange space, I would have to lay it in the orange space. But if I picked this up out of the gray space, if I picked it up from here and I had to lay it in gray, and oh nope, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I had to lay it in white because the gray wasn't taken on this board. If I had to lay this down in the white, I picked it up off of white, and I come to my board and I already have a crop of trees in the white. I can't lay over something that's already there. So therefore, I can now flip this over and I can lay my little gardener tile anywhere in the row, or I'm sorry, in the column of trees, or anywhere in the white row. So I can maybe, hopefully, fill in a spot I need filled in order to gain points. At the end of the game, you're gaining points based on every row that is filled in, or every column, I'm sorry, every column that's filled in, and you're gaining points based on every row that is completed. Additionally, throughout the game, you are gaining points on your little guys that are moving from up here in the squares, that are moving down the columns, and you're gaining points every turn based on where they stop. They can only go down, they can't come back. So you're trying to get them to move down, and hopefully every turn you can move somebody to gain those points. So all of this sounds tricky enough. The hardest part of this is your actions are a little restricted. You can't just pick any piece up off this board you want. That would be too easy. You start off the game with a stack of these cards. And on any given turn, you only have 2 of them in your hand. You're using one and then drawing back up at the end of your turn. So, of course, I picked the same 2 types of cards. Okay, so say these are my 2 cards. This depicts that I can pick up any statue that is laying out on this board. Any statue I want. I still have to put him in whichever color I picked him up off of. But I can pick up any statue I want. Or I can pick up any item out of the blue or purple rows. I still have to put them onto my board in the correct location. But I can only have, basically, on this turn, I have those options. And that's it. any statue or anything out of these 2 rows.
Mm-hmm.
Now I would do whichever one I'm doing, draw back up, and next round, now those are my choices. That adds a little bit of complexity to the game because maybe you don't need what are in those rows. Maybe you already have what are in those rows and you really didn't want to turn it over to be a gardener. You might not have a choice. I enjoy the puzzle of this game.
Yeah.
I always have. It's very simple. It's not... The hardest part is trying to make it work here to get your guys down.
Right. Getting the guys down is like, and the fact that when you go down, it's like you're going to score wherever your gardener stops. So it's like, I can get all the way to the bottom, but do I want to get all the way to the bottom? Yeah,
right. You don't want to go all the way down right off the bat because you're going to score. Yeah,
score as you go down.
And the interesting thing is say I'm missing these 2 spaces, but I have this one, but I have this area filled in. I can go like this. Yep. He just has to end up in his row.
Right.
He can go to visit other things. He just has to end in his row by the end of your turn. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a pretty interesting game.
Yep.
I've always enjoyed this one. Well, yeah, that is Sanssouci. It is going to stick around. But yeah. Okay.
And lastly, we have Santa Monica.
This is a card play one. We've only gotten to play this twice. We played it when we first got it. We played it again just recently. Well, about a month ago now.
Yeah.
With Kat when she came over. Okay. So this one, everybody starts off with their central board, and they're double-sided. And it basically gives you, right off the bat, a victory point condition for the end of the game. The central display is made up of 2 rows of cards. And hopefully I have some pictures of this. I will show some pictures. But the central display is made up of 2 rows of cards. You have access to the bottom row, not the top row, but you can see what's coming. So each of the rows of cards, or each of the cards, have 2 different types of things on them. You have your oceanside cards, and you have your boardwalk cards. Yeah. Thank you. I started to say beachfront, but that was not right. Boardwalk cards. And they have to be played out like so that all of your ocean cards go in a row to the top, next to the top of your board, and all of your boardwalk cards go on the bottom. And then you're doing what's down here on the bottom. Like, so for instance, this card is going to give me 1 visitor and 2 locals. Or is it the other way around? No, that's the ones with the cameras are the visitors, or the tourists. And then the sunglasses are the locals.
Yeah.
So you're getting those tiles, those guys, out of here. You have to have a place to put them. Mm-hmm. At the end of the game, everybody has to be in one of these circle spots. You have to get them moved to those circle spots, or they don't count.
Yep.
And some places take more than others. Like this guy only wants 2 of any people. Can be a local, can be a tourist, doesn't matter.
Or a VIP.
Or a VIP. But you can only have 2 in this circle, and you get 4 victory points. If there's only 1 there, nothing. If you have 3 there, nothing. 2 only. It's an interesting game.
And you lose points if you don't have all your people in circles.
Yes, you lose points crazy, if you can't get everybody moved. Like this one here, this one wants certain icons on either side of it, and it gets you points. So there's different scoring options down here at the bottom of every card that you're trying to fulfill, in addition to trying to fill what's here on each of your cards. And all of these are different. They're all double-sided and different. I enjoyed the game. I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed it.
I want to enjoy this game. I want to like this game, but I've just struggled with it. I've
still?
just struggled with this every time we've played it. Well, the 2 times we've played it.
Yeah, I don't have the scorecard from the original one. This last one, Kat and I were very close.
55, 54, 46.
Yeah. I enjoy it. We're going to hold on to it. I think we definitely need to explore it some more, for sure. I think it is a good card placement game, tableau builder. I feel like this is one you will eventually, it'll click for you. And
we got to get to the table more often. Right now, I don't have any thoughts of getting it to the table. So
yeah, we need to get it to the table more often. But anyway, that is Santa Monica. It is going to stick around for the moment. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, and that's it. That's it for this episode. We're done with the first episode of the Essence. Yay!
out of 95.
There will not be 95 episodes, I promise. Now, there might be like 15, though. We'll see what happens.
It might as well be 95.
It's going to feel like 95 by the time we finish them. So anyway, we will try not to make it a full month before the next one.
Until then, we'll see you at the next one.